All right, and we'll give everybody a few moments to come in. Also, I always like to see if things are working. So,
Yes, we want to make sure everything is aligned. You can hear us. Information is getting out there.
looking good. All right, good. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Give everybody a few moments to come in. I am so super excited to welcome back Elisa Lee to the show. She was here a few weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Had an awesome discussion with that, and it was really amazing energy. So thank you for joining us again. Thank you for being here.
Hello, everybody.
Today we are talking about the importance of dream work, the importance of meditation, the importance of self-healing and spreading the peace and the love and the harmony movement, and maybe a few little something extras in there too. Just see how this goes. We're just going to go with the flow, and we'll take some questions along the way. She's only here for an hour today, so we've got a lot to talk about in an hour, but we'll see what happens. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh.
I'm always excited to be here. I was telling Debbie on my way here, it takes me about 40 minutes to get here from where I live. And it was so beautiful on my way here. Like every mountaintop was glowing. The sky was beaming. Every bird that flew past me, I was just so excited. And I knew the reason why I was experiencing that is because I was coming here. I'm excited when I get a nice little prelude to on my way over here. It's a great way to start the day.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yes. All right. Sure. Thank you. Well, we've got Angel, Aisha,
hello,
River, Debbie, hello, Carol, hi. Francis.
We got a team. I love it.
Oh, yes, Sherry, hello. Elizabeth, hello. Sherry has just sent me her book about the dreams that she has.
Yes, and I'm gonna
Spirit of Light. That. Yes, and it was an amazing book, Sherry. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I really thought that was amazing experience that you put out there. I think it's also important, this wasn't part of the discussion, but it just came out. It's also important for us to share our experiences with each other, because that way, sometimes it validates that you're just not going crazy, but it also validates that other people are going through the same thing. And if we discuss it, it just helps us all grow and evolve and learn from each other.
Yeah, we're mirrors. We're all mirrors to each other.
Yeah.
And every time we're sharing and expressing a story or a memory or any type of experience, and you're open to that, and the other person's open to that, mm-hmm. it's the best and most free healing thing you can actually do for yourself and the other person.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's
very, very, very impactful. We've been doing that the whole time before we started recording this. We're just talking back and forth and sharing. Mm-hmm. And just by doing that alone, I think, it opens everything up, opens the heart chakra up immediately.
Right.
And it just starts to flow and it just starts to feel good. And what's nice about that is it carries over.
It does. And then you get inspiration. And then you have these moments of like, oh yeah, that's possible, or this is possible, or, things start happening. And I think that's all divine intervention too. It's part of that. Share what you've learned with others. Come out, step out of that comfort zone and share what you have experienced with others. I think that's so important. So those of you just popping in too, I just wanted to touch base real quick that we're talking about the things that are really important to focus on, that you should be really focusing on right now is focus on your dream work, your meditation, your self-healing, and some other things that we'll get into too. But Elisa just went to a very powerful conference over this past weekend, and life-changing.
Yes, life-changing.
And
that is an understatement.
Give us, some highlights and how that ties into the importance of these things that we're talking about today. And we'll take some questions along the way and see where this leads. So please share this with others too, your groups, your page, and anybody else,
your tribe,
who would like to
soul sisters,
join this and learn and expand.
Yep.
So, all right. Yes. So what are the highlights of what you took away from this?
Well, let me just tell you, it's called Dimensions of Disclosure. I believe this is their third year doing this type of conference. But this was my first time attending any type of conference. and this type of conference. But I can tell you right now, the people that have produced it created an intention from the get-go, meaning of ascension, higher consciousness, love, light. They knew that that's what they were pulling together. And let me tell you, that's exactly what they did. When I got there, on my way there, the feeling, the emotion, the people, everybody there was willing to just be open. There was conversations constantly. The speakers were ongoing all day. I mean, covering so much information. It was kind of like, they referred it, like speed dating, or like going to college in like a 4-year college in like 3 days, because the information was researched and there was a lot of evidence, and it covered everything, again, from ascension to science-based facts to aliens. They had daily meditations outside at 11:11. You had literally all walks of life. And when I say all walks of life, I mean all walks of our galaxy. I mean, when you start to think beyond Earth, we're so collective, we're all one, and being there and just observing, and that's what I was told to do when I meditated. When I got there, it said observe, absorb, and then articulate it after. So don't try to understand everything you're receiving, but just be in the moment. And when a group of 700 people do that, it was the most enriching experience of my life, and something I've been praying for a long time. And anybody and everybody deserves to get there in their lives where they feel that feeling in their heart that everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And life is exciting, and you do have to follow your passion. You have to follow your heart. You have to start listening to your higher self, because that's where it starts. And then it's just like this ripple effect, and it can happen. It's going to happen at whatever pace you choose. I promise you that. The more you're willing to be open up to it, the more it's going to unfold for you.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
It does. Absolutely.
And how I ended up getting there was several synchronies. I mean, paying attention to the gifts that Source is providing for you, those signals to getting you there. I don't know, like 3 months ago, I had a dream that I was putting in my 2 weeks notice at my job, my corporate job. And I woke up like, oh my gosh, I had this sense of, first of all, I had this really beautiful sense of relief. I've been working my corporate job for 13 years. Don't get me wrong. I have incredible coworkers there. I've met some amazing people and learned a lot of things, but it really hasn't been resonating with me. And that's tough when you're in an environment that doesn't resonate with you, and you're trying to expand yourself. You're going to feel that resistance pretty quick if you're not where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
And unfortunately, my dad's health took a drastic turn. Bless his heart, and bless, prayers for my entire family and my dad. But unfortunately, I got in a situation where I had to attend to my family immediately. And I am still doing that to this day. But as scary as that was, and getting into that whole hospital world that I've learned so much about, I was able to start using my heart as my compass. And it's not easy, but it's what you have to do.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
That's what it is, and I'm just going to this conference just kind of validated so much. I mean, validated pretty much my whole life. And that's pretty phenomenal. I was telling her, I cried for a couple days after. And from what I hear, a lot of people who attended the conference cried for several days because it was that intense. But that can be created and recreated and happen anywhere at any time in your life, if you're willing to do a little bit of the work and get out of your own way. You're listening to this stuff right now, and you're in this room listening because there's a reason. You're here and you're getting pulled towards this information, and you'll have many, many teachers. Debbie has been an incredible teacher for me, and I have other, YouTubers that I go in, or books, or anything I can find, anything that I'm willing to just magnetize myself to and go, okay, and I either like it or don't. If I don't like it, okay,
Right.
set that aside and go towards
Yes.
something that you love doing.
Yeah.
And let me just give you an example of just dream work in general. And I love your feedback out there, guys. So I went to this conference thinking that everybody and their mom was doing dream work, and there was no place for me in this community because I was like so far behind, and I'm like, yeah, I don't belong here. And little did I know that it wasn't, it was there, but not in the way that I thought it would be there. I thought it was going to be really prevalent, and it really wasn't. And I was talking to doctors, film directors, authors, and who wanted to know more about dreams, and I was totally surprised, and they were asking me questions on how and who, what, where, when, why. And that was incredibly exciting.
It is
for
exciting.
me. I was just giddy.
It's when you trust and you allow things to happen and you just kind of go with things, that's when things open up. It's the universal guiding you. It's guiding you to where you ultimately need to go or want to go, where your soul needs to be. And when things open up, and you trust that and you go that direction, amazing things can happen. Amazing things can happen. So follow your true purpose, follow your heart, be true to yourself. I mean, deep down to the very core of who you are. It's a fearful thing because we're always so blocked with all these fears, the society things that we have to adhere to, or the cultural things that we have brought up to believe, or family things that we've been told all these years. But it's so important to be your true, authentic self, deep down of who you are inside your heart, and follow that and trust that it's okay to do that.
Yeah. Starts with healing.
It starts with healing. It does.
So it starts with self-healing.
It starts with self-healing. And that's how I started.
Yeah.
I was focused on my own inner healing. And this is where it has evolved to. It's something that I never expected at all. So trust that and start with your self-healing. It really is important to do your own self-healing to get the layers of all that off that we've absorbed for so many years and even past lifetimes, the karmic, bring overs, and just find yourself.
Yeah, you have to kind of acknowledge that emotional kind of darkness a little bit. They always say you have to go to the dark side a little bit to get into the light, and there's a lot of truth in that. I felt like I was suffering for a long time from my own emotions, and I think you have to turn it to I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. And that's the mindset you have to change it into, because if you're a victim, you'll remain a victim.
Right.
And a victim kind of is stagnant. Victim doesn't get too far, but if you become a survivor, you kind of like this rising phoenix, and on fire, coming out and just and facing it, and from there taking back that layer, then you can slowly get into everything else. But and if write it out. If you're angry, write how angry you are. You can't just it's not necessarily all peace and love when you're trying to observe what you experience. There's nothing wrong with transferring your information about your anger or your fears onto paper and just learning to let that go and acknowledging it. It's probably the most powerful thing you can do for yourself. And nobody can really do that for you. You have to be willing to do a little bit of that emotional work.
And it's a process. It does not happen overnight. I've got to be really realistic about this. I mean, it does not happen overnight. It takes time and it takes consistency, and you've got to really put the effort into it to get the rewards out of it.
Yeah. That's why if you're into moon energies, moon energy to me, especially as a woman, just because if we just think of cycles alone of emotions, the moon kind of guides us through that and allows us to experience that. And it's a calendar. It's like a regular, I call it, moon for me is an emotional calendar for me personally, because if it's a full moon and things are going on, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that's full moon. That's why all this, chaos is, people are acting crazy
Right.
or whatnot, or I know when it's a waning moon and it's, trying to fertilize itself again. And that's where new thoughts come in, and it's harvesting everything. So, I don't know, maybe you just got to find where your niche is and how to keep that emotional calendar, I guess you should say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In there.
Yeah. I love how you use that analogy too. That's beautiful, because I've not thought of it that way, really.
Oh, the moon?
So yeah,
I mean, I've
kind of, I've not really thought of the moon as emotional calendar. I've always, and when it's full moon, I always can feel the intense energy. But I also feel the new moon is intense energy.
To me, the new moon is just as powerful as the full moon.
Yeah,
I actually
me too.
Yeah, I get a little bit more intense around the new moon. The full moon, I actually kind of hide out a little bit.
I do too. I don't want to go out there because it's just a little bit over the top.
It's very intense.
But yeah. So let's see if we've got any comments, any questions, or anything here that we can. Sharing is caring. Absolutely. Let's see here, Angel. We've got a question. I've had a reoccurring dream since I was a little girl. The dream every few years scared me as a child. Now you're just confused of why you keep having it. So I mean, I've had reoccurring dreams, but it stopped to a point. So what can you say about reoccurring dreams in general?
Reoccurring dreams are reoccurring problems you have not solved. It's something that is in you that you have not solved. It's definitely emotional, and it might be something as a child that you blocked out of an experience that you had, but it's a reoccurring fear of yours, and it's going to keep coming to you until you face it, or until you really start dissecting what's going on. You're not going to find all the answers in the dream. The dream is not giving you all the answers. The dream is just giving you the signal to tell you, okay, this is something you have to look into. You have to start digging back and, tell your story. Tell your story to yourself. Where were you born? Mm-hmm. Who are you? Where did you move? How did you experience things? Start writing it down. Everyone has a story to tell. And I think when you start writing your own story down, it's very revealing. I've done it myself before, and I'll be writing down kind of chronologically my life experience, and then in between two experiences I'll remember another experience in between that and go, whoa, I didn't even remember that until I acknowledge those other two memories. So if you're having that dream constantly, it's definitely a reference for you to go back and check it. It wants you to heal on something, and if it's not enough for you, before you go to sleep, do an affirmation of asking your higher guides, your higher self, angels, to maybe reveal a little bit more to you to get you to the next step. But I definitely, that's what I sense. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah.
And it ties into this kind of topic today of the importance of self-healing. And that's where we bring in the dream work and the meditation work, to learn what we need to work on, to self-heal, to get to those points deep down inside, to shine our beautiful light with others. So work on your dream work. Keep your dream journals. Pick apart the dream. Figure it out. What is it doing? What is it telling you? What is it? Meditate.
Yeah.
Write down your meditations. Same thing. Pick it apart. What does it mean? What comes to you? What work on it consistently. And I think that really does help with the whole self-healing process.
Yeah, and consistency.
Consistency
is the key.
It really does make a difference. You've got to,
If you had like a bad day or a bad couple of days, never hesitate to just restart. Just wipe that slate and say, okay, I had a bad couple of days. It's okay, but let me go ahead and get recentered, rejuvenated.
Absolutely.
Yesterday's yesterday. Yeah. Let's focus on today and move on, move on.
I mean, we are in a human shell. So
yes,
we do have those times where we are affected by stress, or we're affected by trauma, or we're affected by world events or whatever. And those things come, and just the more that you self-heal, the more that you will find peace. And then when you experience those things, you can kind of see why those things happen, but you can also respond in a more peaceful way than in a fearful way.
Yeah, exactly. You can breathe and take a step back.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing, you know, with my dad, and I feel so inclined to share this. I'm so sorry. You know, her and I had this conversation about hospitals. I mean, I can't believe the lack of, of, environmentally, there's no color, there's no high vibration stuff going on in hospitals. And I understand they have to keep it sterile and so forth. But when you're trying to keep somebody alive, you want to keep them alive. I would assume that the first thing you keep them alive with is with life, right? But there's no life in there. And I go, oh my gosh. So when I enter the hospital, you know, I have to go in and protect myself completely and be the light. I mean, I go in there and I feel, and there's a lot of dedicated doctors and nurses, and I hands down commend them for what they do, because day in and day out, this is something they're dealing with them, and bless their hearts. And I've met so many nurses that are just sweethearts, men and women, doing their best, definitely doing their best. But I even see that they need healing work.
Oh, yes.
Because they're under so much
they're in
density.
that environment every day, and they absorb all that's happening every day.
Yeah, I mean,
but a lot of them are not aware of that too.
They're not aware of it, you know. And so I go in there and I try to smile. I smile and I conversate. And I learned real quickly that, you know, it is my soul frequency responsibility to walk into a space like that and be the light. And that's what you have to do when you sense that anywhere you are. And that's what I do every time. Sometimes I can't stay there very long. I have to set some boundaries up sometimes. It's not easy. I've spent the last couple months crying a lot, but I'm not afraid to cry. And you can ask my whole family that. I will cry. I will commercial make me cry. You know, to me, crying and being vulnerable is the most beautiful thing there is. And it's an offering that you give to show that you're feeling and you're in the present moment. And, you know, crying next to my dad, who I know is in this position in his life. I know his higher self tells me all the time, you know, he shows me the heart. He does. He shows me the heart, and that everything's going to be okay. And that every single moment in your life is a learning experience, and even the harder times. And you just have to grasp that and own it. Own it.
What just came to me with your talk about your father too is you've mentioned you've had these experiences. He can't communicate right now.
No.
But you and he communicate. They communicate with each other on an energetic level.
Yeah, I talk to him telepathically. He's been in my dreams several times. He's shown me what he's experiencing on his end, which is tough because, you know, his situation, it's neurological. And so he's shown me his brain, and he's weaved me through his brain and how things aren't connected anymore. And so, which doesn't allow the brain obviously to function. So he shows me on the frequency level. And, you know, I think one of the most impactful dreams I had is, you know, I saw these nurses and I saw this hospital bed a couple of months ago when he first went into the hospital. But to the right of us was this beautiful ocean, serene, beautiful ocean. And it was just glittering. And I just thought, wow, you know, how poetic, how perfect, how healing. That my dad was letting me know, listen, I know you're in this material world and you're experiencing all this stuff, but please recognize the beauty. Just recognize that sereneness and so much peace, so much peace and healing in that. And you have to trust it. You know,
yes.
I scooped all that up, and, you know, I told my mom about it, you know, and trying to kind of spread the word, you know, in the situation, it's tough, you know, but I swooped it up and put it in my pocket.
Don't you feel that helped you from that point on?
Absolutely.
To deal with the situation that he's in?
Yes. It's
on personal, like your own self. How, you know,
because, you know, going to the hospital and seeing my dad in the situation and seeing my family, kind of going through what they're going through, it's so easy to crumble. It's so easy to crumble. And I'm not saying I haven't crumbled. I'm not disregarding that. But what I have is that I fall in a little bit and then pick myself back up. My recovery is quick.
Yeah.
It's quick because I've got to stay strong and I've got to stay solid. But I trust all that. That's why dreams have been my savior,
they're gifts.
Everything.
They're gifts of glimpses of information. And if you can grasp that, same thing with meditation, it's gifts of divine information. And if you can hold on to what you learn from these, it truly can open your heart, your mind, your body, your physical body, your soul, all of it, to a deeper understanding of really what's happening.
It's a lot easier to move through life with compassion. It's I'm freezing now because in a good way, because I just realized in this moment that, like you said, the dream work is a gift. But we all harness this gift completely. And, I would love your feedback, guys, because I am trying to get out in this world and teach this stuff, right? I want to teach this stuff.
Yes.
And if I know that people are wanting to know more, it gets me more excited, and I want to express how valuable it is. And everybody that I have kind of intertwined with and mentioned it's helped their life dramatically. It's just it's kind of like this little secret door into your higher self. And every night's a mystery. Sometimes you don't get anything. But sometimes you get things when you least expect it, and you have to you just got to value those for sure.
You've helped me understand the whole dream world so much more than I ever have, because I've never really worked with it before I met you. I've always just been more on the meditative side. I still am. And but now when I do remember a dream, I start to pick it apart and pull it apart, and I start to look at, how did I feel, what was going on, and how does it correlate with what I'm going through or what I need to know. So you've helped me a great deal with it. So there is value. I say, yes, there is value in that. We do need to know more about it. So I'm so glad you're here to share.
Yes.
I have a question here from Colleen. Her son had a dream that he was in the middle of a tornado and was stuck by a falling pillar, and he died. He felt it. He even said he just died.
Oh, wow, that's pretty powerful. Did she say how old he was?
No.
Okay, young son. So when I'm thinking son, automatically I know this sounds I'm picking up a little bit on testosterone. I have boys, and my boys tend to dream about tornadoes as well. And I feel sometimes that deals with they're having a hard time kind of figuring out the world a little bit, that the world to them is a little chaotic, and it's kind of their higher self showing that they're trying to get a better solid understanding. Now, if the pillar hit him and knocked him down, that means maybe something's grounding him, and that could potentially be you as a mom grounding him. And that's actually not a bad thing that he died. It means that something kind of stopped, because tornadoes
like
are
a cycle.
Tornadoes are fast, and it's moving, and there's a lot of energy. So just think of it as a lot of information that's happening. But then you've got a pillar, something solid that falls and weighs him down to give him some leverage and keep him grounded. Now, I know that was a really strong, impactful dream visually in the experience, but if we try to unlock to see what that means, hey, in the dream it stopped for him and got rid of a little bit of the chaos. But I also has to do with, I think, testosterone a little bit. And don't underestimate testosterone. It starts a lot earlier than you think. I've learned that with having boys. It could start at 7, 8 years old and so on. So it sounds like he's trying to kind of find his place in the world and all the information that he retains. That's what I'm picking up from that dream. If it was my personal dream, and you think a pillar of knowledge, that's grounding him, and keeping him down, and die for him to die immediately is probably a pretty natural thing for a young kid to think, okay, I got hit by a pillar, I should probably, so he was kind of just going
Maybe
with
he
that
had
flow.
like this aha moment, and it was like he died, and then just that's what just came to me. Like he just found out something. It was just really, really pivotal in his life that he let that part go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that, believe it or not, I think that was actually a positive dream.
Angel brings up a very valid point here. It's hard to, I'm thinking when we were talking about expressing yourself, be your true authentic self, and that kind of thing. When you feel alone in this world, especially in the South where it's not accepted. And that is a really big thing for a lot of people. And I've gone through the fears of not being out there. And we're not really coming out here to say that you need to go out there and spread the word. That's not the point of this. This is the point of just being your true authentic self to yourself. Honor yourself, be who you are. And if you don't have people to communicate, you have all of us here.
Yeah.
You have the group, you have each other. We're all here for a reason. And okay, we might be at a distance, but there are others going through the exact same thing. And it is fearful. It is scary putting yourself out there. This is what I believe. And you don't have to do that in your community if that's causing you distress, but honor yourself, be true to yourself when you're with yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's tough. I've been in that situation before.
I think everybody in the spiritual community has.
Yeah,
at one time or another.
It's kind of it's tough, and it's not. It all starts with you and your own self-healing. You've got to start setting boundaries. I understand that not, everything and every situation I get into is going to be like in a spiritual arena. And you just got to be smart about who you discuss it with. Energetically, if you think about it vibrationally, like if you feel a conversation leading that way with somebody and the vibration feels good, it feels good. If it doesn't, then pull back. No need to take it further and go, okay, you don't have to go that deep into it. But I think that starts with boundaries.
Yeah.
Setting your
and we're not here to preach and convince everybody to believe what we believe. That's not what we're about at all. So, everybody has the right to believe what they believe, and that's part of their plan. That's part of their soul path. And we all have gone through that too in past lives. So just be respectful of what they believe and be true to what you believe, and just send them peace, love, and light, and just let it be.
Yeah, that's it right there. That's what I do. Send peace, love, and light. Even when I'm driving and I see, a homeless person or a situation that I can't help with, I literally visualize light and hearts going towards that scenario. That's the one way to give.
Absolutely.
Completely. But, but if you can find ways to groups, or like you said on Facebook here, to talk about it, any type of outlet, and if it's not in your community per se physically, having this access here, say what you feel. I promise you that you're not alone in any of these scenarios.
Yes. It's all quite common, really. Yeah. We have all experienced it in some way or another. And that's why I said it's important too to share with each other here in this kind of group, in this kind of setting, in my group, Crystalline Sage. That's what it was created for in the first place, is to be a safe place to discuss things where if you come across something, it's like, how do I deal with this? Or what, I just learned this. It's so exciting, but I don't have anybody to tell it to, or, things like that.
Yeah.
But we're here, the community is here.
Just as a perfect example, we were just talking about this. I have a house full of kids. I love my kids. To say my kids don't drive me crazy, I would be lying. There are moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, please just leave me alone for a second. And I have to run in the bathroom and grab a couple crystals and literally sit on my toilet with 2 crystals. Sometimes I have to do that because it's so, sometimes it can be overwhelming. But I'll tell you, what I'm willing to do is take that time for myself. And that's what I'm learning. Self-care,
self-healing.
I wish I would have known that a long time ago, but now that I know what self-care is, taking time for myself, because if I'm a happy mom, I'm getting happy kids out of this.
Then you radiate that love out more to that peacefulness out too.
Exactly. I don't have to
Yeah.
explain this to my kids. I don't have to sit there
Yeah.
and say, okay, guys, let's all meditate. I can't do that with my kids. But if I come out of meditation and I'm just feeling good and happy and putting that vibe out, that's what's going to help. It's not always consistent.
Right.
Totally not consistent.
Yeah.
But the difference is once you get better at it, it's easier to get back into. Much easier.
It is. The more you do it, the easier it is to hold that vibration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
the more you find self-healing too, the more you uncover some of the things that you hold you back, you'll have that confidence to deal with whatever comes your way in a loving way. You'll just know how to deal with those things. Doreen has a good question or a comment. How do you trust the dreams that you get if you disbelieve them? How do you get past that? How do you learn to trust your dreams?
Gosh, I've always trusted my dreams. That's a great question.
It is a good question.
I mean, if you don't trust your dreams, honestly, it just means you don't trust yourself and your own decisions. And I know that's really brash, and I know that sounds bad, but I'm saying that because that's something you have to work on. That's interpersonal, because think about it. I mean, that has more of you not trusting your own decisions that you make for yourself. And maybe it's because in the past you haven't made the best decisions, and so you don't trust your decisions, and so then you don't trust your dreams. And that's more internal.
Back to the self-healing work.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of some shadow work you got to go into. But if it's not something you trust, I think it's something that it has more to do with you not trusting yourself a little bit. So hope that makes sense.
Yes, no, I think that, yeah. Sherry, something new for her. She is now dreaming while she is dreaming.
Oh, you're going into like that's almost like lucid dreaming.
That's
so you're
awesome.
going within a dream, within a dream, within a dream. Yeah, that's so awesome. That's so much fun.
To change whatever's happening. Yes, lucid
dreaming.
Yeah.
Lucid dreaming. That's great. How fun is that?
That's awesome.
Keep doing that. I mean, it's a playground to go out there and do that. And then when you get out of it, I'm telling you, the first thing you have to remember is what were you feeling? Well, you're probably feeling how excited you were that you were dream within a dream within a dream. That's always fun. But then try to write down the content, figure out your environment. Maybe you were at a place that you recognized, get those details. Did you see, what was the scenario? What color were the leaves? Did you see cracks in the ground? Were people with you? Did you feel people that were there that you didn't see? Find all the synchronies in there. Find how it relates to your real life. Like, you have to be your own Sherlock Holmes. I mean, that's what it is. It's like dream detective. That's what you are. Like, ask those questions and figure it out. Most people that send me the dream information, if someone sends a dream to me and they have a question about it, I find that almost 90% of the time they already knew that answer and they just wanted to validate it. You know what I mean? They just wanted to feel a little bit more sound about the information that they got, and they go, oh, that's what I was thinking that the dream was. I was like, oh, okay, well, great. So you already knew, I'm just validating it for you. But that's awesome. That means you just keep getting more in tune, because man, you can have some real fun with that lucid dreaming. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's awesome.
Yep.
Colleen said that her son is a grown man. Yeah.
Well,
so the tornado
testosterone, grown man. Well, still, I mean, that's still, to me, is still tied into that, being as a grown man, because grown men still have testosterone. So something to think about all that. I still think there's a lot going on. Tornadoes are always usually about emotions and information that you're getting all at once and not being able to ground it so much. But that's what I got from that dream. So
yeah, very interesting. Something too I wanted to touch base on too. We were talking about, was it 2 days ago or something, a couple days ago, was the harmony movement. You called it something different from your perspective of the conference you went to. I wrote about the harmony movement in my second book. Those of you who don't know, whether you know it or not, or whether you understand it or not, if you are in this spiritual journey, you're in the harmony movement. You just are automatically. The more that you do self-healing, the more that you do finding your own self-worth, your self-purpose, the more that you send out peace to others, that's the harmony movement in a nutshell. That radiates out to others, to others, to others, to help others heal. They might not know it, they might not realize it, they might not feel it, but our spiritual community has collectively grown over the years tremendously, and it will continue to amplify over and over and over. And the more that we do this self-work and sending of peace and love and light to others, that will continue to help with this harmony movement, which is bringing harmony to all of humankind again. It was at one point, several thousands, millions of years ago. And we are trying to restore that. And if you feel like you're in it or not, you're in it.
You're in it.
You're in it.
You're in it.
So the more that you contribute to your own self-worth, self-healing, self-purpose, and peace, the more that helps others. Believe it or not, it helps others. So
harmony is going to attract harmony. It's a vibration, that it's a signal that you're sending out. And that signal will always come back to you. I mean, it really does. And that's what I also gathered from this whole experience at this conference. And you should look into it. Look into dimensions of disclosure. That'll just lead you into other things. It's just kind of an epicenter, and it can guide you to other things. Was the fact you got to start thinking on energy and frequency terms. You've got to think of like the ocean. That's part of it all. That's how you get to these levels of any bliss, ascension, however you want to categorize it. Think in terms of energy, because at a really young age we start doing that, but then then we're kind of not, they don't embrace it anymore. And then we kind of lose touch out of what vibration and everything is. I mean, just think of nature. I mean, nature completely is all based off vibration.
And it functions beautifully.
Yeah. Easily.
Just on its own.
Yes.
And it does what it's supposed to do. And It doesn't question it.
No, it just does. And so you gotta, once you feel that and flow with that, it'll get easier and easier. It will. It definitely will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laverne had a dream of birds flying. Was that the extent of it, Laverne, or was
birds flying? Well, I mean, if we think about birds, birds have this ultimate freedom. It sounds like your dreams are revealing to you that your options are pretty wide open for you. The escape is open for you. When I tune in to you right now, I sense that maybe you're looking for a little bit more exploration. Like maybe you want to get into something that you haven't done before, and you want to find your group. Wow, that's actually I'm seeing the vision. I can see the vision there. But you think of a bird, and a bird is just being itself. It's just it just goes out in nature and is completely just open and flows and moves. So when you do see that, that's your spirituality speaking to you and kind of telling you that there's no cage around that bird. There's no cages there, and that you should be able to, if you feel inclined, go and set yourself free. And I know that sounds so cliche, like, oh, set yourself free, but it really is, because remember, your dreams are a spiritual experience. So a spiritual experience is talking to you spiritually. So it's telling you see birds of movement, of freedom, of migration, of just the mood. There's so much I've been picking up on you. You're moving into something great. Whatever you're doing, I feel like and think about birds. Birds have totally different perspective too, right? Birds see things completely different than we do. They're seeing everything from above here. So that's also telling me you're rising to this occasion and looking at new perspectives at how you can see things. So I hope that resonates with you.
No, thank you. Yeah. Mikhail I met when I had my shop, and we've had several deep chats. And he has a comment here. Reiki dreaming is awesome. He has gone into some very deep dreaming and meditative states using Reiki as well. And that's just like another added energetically benefit to it all. I just got chills just saying that. it's another layer to bring you even deeper. And I think that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Mikhail.
Yeah, it's a healing session.
Mm-hmm.
You just took the time to do a healing
Yeah.
session. And what's nice is, in the dream world, you can do it in the wake time too, but in the dream world, you're adding so many different dimensions, helping you with the universal energy of Reiki, right? To get that healing done. And it is just as legitimate physical form and versus the dream form. It's the same. So you're utilizing your dream world. That's great. Wow, that's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, really
he's
cool.
he's tapped into some awesome energies from that. So trust it, work on it. You can do this too. It's not exclusive.
No.
Everybody can
do it.
experience these things.
And there's no wrong or right way to do it. There really isn't.
Right.
It's just
I
about
agree with that too.
Yeah, there's just about initiating it.
Yeah.
And if you look into, also there's shamanic drumming you can listen to on YouTube that helps you. If you listen to it after your dreams, when you wake up in the morning, if you have a little bit of time, listen to shamanic drumming just to get you back in. It may not even be about reflecting on what happened in the dream. Just that shamanic drumming alone and the resonance of the dream could guide you to something else. And then, and lead you into some important information for your day or whatnot. You have to trust the information that's going through. This is this whole conversation, right? Like just going back to that inner,
exactly, it ties back to
trust in that inner healing and understanding that everything you experience out here all starts here.
Yes,
all right here.
It does.
All right here. It's that simple. That simple as far as the concept.
Yes.
Now, the process not necessarily as simple. Of course, you got to go through stuff. It's a journey, but like have fun. Like every day is a journey. Like everybody.
If you look at it that way, it's much different. If
Yeah.
you look at it like, oh, geez, what am I going to do? Then you're going to put the blocks. But if you look at it as an exciting experience and what's next and what's new and what am I learning from it, it's like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's taking that dream world and bringing it into the physical and making them exchange themselves. There's so much that's so empowering, for you to, and I know, trust me, I can't tell you how many times I've had a dream and I wake up and it's so impactful. And then you try to describe it to somebody and they're just kind of looking at you like,
right.
And well, because that's what makes it even more special. I mean, it's your direct source with, God, Buddha, source, well, whatever connects with you, that's it right there. And, doesn't get any better than that. Or if you do feel like you need to share because there's information there, yes, but nobody will ever know that true
it's
centered
yours.
Excitement,
It's yours. It's your dream. It's yours. It's tied to you.
It's like a fingerprint.
It's like a fingerprint.
Like a snowflake, like totally unique in that very moment in time. And that's what's so interesting is we are multidimensional beings. And I hope that one day we live in a world where our children learn that immediately and it stays consistent in their whole life. And I
think there are other worlds like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we just chose to be here to experience this and to grow and to expand. But yeah, I think there are other worlds like that right now.
Yeah.
So
and it's happening here. It's all happening. It is. It truly, and it's actually been happening for a long time, but the amount now is growing.
Yes.
Which is
tremendously
so exciting. And every time everybody starts expanding consciousness and healing and love and so forth, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And there is this kind of uprising of consciousness truly happening. And I witnessed it at this disclosure event. I saw it, hands on. It was totally tangible. Even though in my heart, I knew it was happening, but it was like condensed, compact in one space.
It's really nice to be able to be with like-minded people in a place and express yourself and learn from each other and grow from your experiences from each other. And it's that sometimes we need that too, just to be with others that understand us and understand what you're going through and to be able to connect with each other. Like, I get it. I get it.
Which reminds me, I was talking to this psychologist who was there at the event, and he was there to collect some information and learn, and so he could help out with his clients, because he tries to implement meditation on his clients constantly and give them new knowledge and word. And we talked at the beginning when the conference started, and then I talked to him, which started a great conversation about why we were there and our experiences. And then I talked to him at the end of the conference. And when I sat down with them, you're so open at that point, you know what I mean? You're just sharing experiences. It's like we're all walking confessionals at this point by the last day. And I walked up to him, and he's just telling me his experiences. And I said, you know what? I think what you need to do is you need to teach other psychologists what you've learned,
right?
So that other psychologists can help their clients. And that's
Just
what you
help
need
that
to
ripple
do.
effect.
Yeah, because there's a missing aspect in psychology, not in all psychology, just based on a little bit. There's a stigma in psychology, all this stuff, but what if you started implementing all this meditation, higher service, compassion, love, into psychologists, so they can experience it for themselves, number one, and then they can spread that information to their clients and use not only their knowledge, their background, and their education of knowing about emotions and habits and addictions and apply it.
Right.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like, how major is
Amazing.
that?
That would truly be amazing.
And he
It would
looked
help
at
so
me.
many.
Yeah. He looked at me like I was crazy, and he was like, I think he goes, I didn't even dawn on me. And it's funny because this guy's super intelligent. My mind doesn't work the way his mind works. I'm totally impressed by all these people that I met. But just because we engaged in a conversation, in a brainstorm, and we were vocal about it and played off of each other like a soundboard, we were able to find kind of a solution there. And I told him, I said, well, it's about being vulnerable, right? You got to just be willing to state your fears and where they come from, and then take it from there. And when you've got a psychologist pondering that, that's it's kind of cool. I felt like
that's awesome.
I did, I did
my
job there.
Yeah, you did.
I felt valuable very much.
You made an impact on him
in that moment.
That's truly awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I hope he does well. He flew back to Canada. I only talked to him for a little while, but he was on a mission, and I'm sure that he's going to do very, very well. I think,
Well, we're running out of time already. I tell you, these hours go so fast. So we'll take whatever last couple questions here, and then we'll wrap up and see where we're at. So Michelle has a question. She used to have a dream when she was little, over and over, playing in a big sand pit, all alone, no one around. And all of a sudden, a big tractor would scoop her up and dump her over the edge.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Man, there's such a pattern in all these dreams to me about emotional challenges as being a child. Okay, so you're all alone. Okay, so you feel, in a sense, you don't feel very, very safe. You don't feel very secure in that situation, and you're by sand. So let me think here. And then something just takes something away from you and immediately extracts from you. It sounds like there was a situation where it has to do with abandonment and your fear of abandonment, or you experience some type of abandonment, and it was very abrupt, and it came from a very strong, large energy. I mean, if you think of a bulldozer coming in and shaking things up, sounds like in life that you didn't have a lot of a sense of security. Like you're on sand. Sand to me is constantly moving. It's not solid. Sand is not solid. It kind of is all this moving, and you were there and you were alone. So there might be something you have to dig into, no pun intended, to get in and check out where was the time in your life where you may have felt abandoned or insecure, and work on where you need to get secure. And you were uprooted. So I can imagine that gives a little bit of fear-based going on there. So look into that and find out. Now with that, if you could look back on that dream and change it somehow, think about how you would change it. Would you get up and move so that tractor doesn't get you and put you in a different spot, what would you do? You would have to get up and you would move. That's kind of like self-empowerment. But to kind of help that, you can go back and replay that dream and play it the way you would love for it to have played out. But see what this dream does. It starts making you ask questions. It doesn't mean what I'm saying is right. It just means that you go, I'm starting to wonder, what did this mean? If we start thinking about the symbolic things of sand and a tractor, a tractor is kind of destroying things, but not necessarily. A tractor is creating a new foundation. So you have to kind of look at it in many different perspectives, how it relates to you. But just based on that, that's what I got from that.
That's good. Yeah. Bringing up the lucid dreaming thing, kind of going back into the dream and recreating it. You can do that through meditation too.
Yep.
Go into meditation with the intent of replaying that dream that you experienced over and over, and go and recreate it in your meditation with a different outcome that you are at peace with.
Yeah.
Laverne said yes on the birds. Exactly right. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So thank you for that.
No, thank yourself. You told yourself, not me.
And Mikhail, yes, thank you. Mikhail, yes, thank you. Kunjan had a dream today that she was climbing floors and up into the 7th floor, and came down and found that somewhere in between she forgot her footwear, but didn't want to go find it because she was in a hurry to go to some other higher floors of the building.
That's great. You're climbing, okay? You're rising. To me, that's your spirituality. We're going back to that, okay? So we think about shirts, shoes. Those are earthbound things, okay? Things that keep you locked down and kind of gravitated to the ground. You didn't want to go back and get your shoes because you were having a great time going up those stairs.
Oh yeah, I can completely see it too.
Yeah, going up, and you're like, but your one side of you is like, oh no, like logically, I need my shoes. I'm about to go travel somewhere, but spiritually, no, you don't need your shoes. This is not a place. You don't need shoes where you're going. That's a beautiful, very clear dream, and going upstairs is a great sign of seeking knowledge and trying to grow and expand, and that's what you were doing. And
I know Kunjan, and I know she's working on that kind of thing too, so it totally fits.
That's totally beautiful.
Fits. So
keep running up those stairs.
I mean, the dream thing, you do have to pick apart the symbolism, and that takes time.
Yeah,
but trust what you get out of it.
Trust it, and like I said, start asking. It's like kind of breaking down poetry. Like you can't, you read a poem and you understand a little bit about it, but the intent of the poet is for you to kind of dig deeper and ask more questions. So it's all symbolic. There's metaphors in there. You kind of have to do the same thing with the dream work. Or sometimes you determine that. You can kind of decipher what these dreams mean to you. And as you practice more, like you're going to know what these dreams mean to you, like for instance, when I dream about snakes, I know that I'm going to get a cold of some sort or something's coming because I've already set that boundary within myself. So I just know to be careful when I see snakes, that I could be catching a cold of some sort, so it's different, a little different for everybody, but get in there and just tear it apart and figure it out, and the answers will reveal themselves. They really will.
We'll take one last one with Lisa, but first I did want to let you know that yes, Michelle's with the tractor thing, she did feel awkward and abandoned, so it resonated.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Thank you everyone for sharing their dreams, because you are sharing a piece of yourself and your memories and your emotions. So it's always healing for us as well, so thank you very much.
Yes. And thanks for participating in this today too.
Yes.
Lisa, you've always had reoccurring dreams since childhood where there has been a bright light and darkness that are moving back and forth, kind of like a battle. And she's not had that dream for a while.
Ooh, moving light back and forth. It almost sounds like when I think of moving light back and forth and there's this kind of duality moving back and forth, it could be a combination of things, of subconscious and conscious. Like it's almost you in and out of the dream world, and it's kind of showing you what you're doing in that moment, because it is kind of two worlds at the same time. It's a yin and a yang. It's expressing the sense of needing kind of a tangible balance is what you need. But you're in two worlds, you know, and when I say dark, I don't mean like dark matter negative. I mean just it has to do with duality and balance there. So you really have to understand that it's showing you a perception of what your world is like in the dream world. God, it's kind of complex. I've had dreams like this, something as simple as I told you that dream I had last night of lights beaming last night. And it was just this one big, beautiful beam of light. And it was just, and it was behind this blackness. And it had so much information in it. I could barely handle it. I was so overwhelmed with love and joy. And that light, you know, we all come from the stars, and we'll probably get into that in another time.
Yes, we're running out of time today, but yeah.
That's just reminding you where you come from, and we all come from light, you know.
We're all light.
We're all light, and that is just expressing that.
Thank you. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Kunjan said yes. Thank you for helping her interpret her dreams. So that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for your participation, your comments, your questions. Please share this with others.
Yes,
we do appreciate others to not only join our community, but get to know Elisa and what we both have to offer to. And we'll have more discussions in the future. Yes. I have no doubt. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
It's just truly an exciting time. So if nothing else today, send peace, love, and light to somebody else.
Yes.
And that will pay it forward.
And breathe. Breathe. You'll be okay. Everything will be fine.
Everything will be great. So thank you all so much.
Bye, guys.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Namaste. Have a great day.